Man, I get it. I totally get it. This person was so amazing in the beginning. They were probably everything you've ever wanted and more. Maybe you never thought that the feeling was even possible for you to experience in your life. That's certainly how it was for me. But this is the pattern of narcissistically abusive relationships. You're not perfect. You're never going to be perfect because you're human. And so you're never going to be good enough for them. It's not going to work. Stop trying to change the narcissist. Computer says no. Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to wade into the many thousands of videos that are already on YouTube that are trying to convince you, the recovering codependent, to stop trying to change the narcissist and instead focus on loving yourself. My take is probably much the same, only you haven't heard it from my baby blue eyes, or my sultry voice, or my obvious New Zealand accent. I'm going to deliver the goods plain and simple. That's a promise. For an intimate relationship to be healthy, functional, and successful, whether it's a one-night stand or a lifetime marriage, both participants must have love for themselves and empathy for the other. Let me repeat that. For an intimate relationship to be healthy, functional, and successful, both participants in the relationship must have plenty of love for themselves and plenty of empathy for the other. Now, if you know a thing or two about narcissism, you may notice that there may just be a little something missing on their side of the equation. Just in case I have to spell it out for you, it's empathy. I get that this one is kind of confusing because it can often seem like this person who kind of seems like a narcissist, but you're not really sure does actually have empathy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all part of the ruse. It's all part of the manipulation. It's not as though they don't have empathy. They can imagine how you might be feeling, and they can even come across as caring and empathetic and compassionate. But upon closer inspection, and with a little understanding into the psychology of how the personality disorder actually works, you can notice that when they are empathizing with you or with someone else, it's like they're almost empathizing with themselves. That's because they are. You may have heard the term narcissistic extension, that narcissists don't really view people as separate to themselves. That's a whole nother conversation that I'm definitely going to do a video on, because it is rather fascinating psychology and can certainly help you to break free of your attachment to them by you realizing that they never really saw you as a separate person to them in the first place. But for now, if you've been in a relationship with a narcissist and you really think about it, you probably don't have to think about it too hard, let's be real. You will probably agree that if there's one thing that you want more from them in the relationship, it's empathy. Let me make this squeaky clean crystal clear. It's not going to happen. Why would they have empathy for you when they already do have empathy and they're already perfect and you're the one with the problem? Let's move on. The juicy part of this video is not really in hammering the narcissist as the one without empathy. Remember what I said about both participants in a healthy relationship, both requiring love for themselves and empathy for the other? Well, we've established that the narcs don't give a shit about you or your feelings, and whilst their self-love may be based in delusion, for all intents and purposes it is still self-love. So where does that leave you in this equation? Narcs have self-love but no empathy. You obviously have all the empathy in the world for them, right? Can you guess where I'm going with this? Pause. Awkward pause. Are you aware that by definition of being and staying in a relationship with someone with no empathy for you, you are showing yourself that you do not love yourself? What kind of self-loving person gets or stays in a relationship with someone who chronically and ruthlessly gaslights, criticizes, shames, devalues, guilt trips, blackmails, manipulates, cheats on, lies to, demands absolute perfection of, and bullies them? My friends, for any human intimate relationship to be healthy, functional, and successful, it needs to be based on basic, fundamental human respect. That means both participants must have love for themselves and empathy for the other. And when you do get that happening, that shit is spicy, man. That's the way it's meant to be. You both care for yourselves enough to own and stand strong and firm and unapologetic in your rights, needs, feelings, and boundaries. And you both care for the other enough to hear and empathize with them doing the same. That is when real intimacy happens. Narcissistically abusive relationships are not intimate. Being in a narcissistically abusive relationship, at least from the fawning codependent's perspective, as I'm sure you can relate, is like being taken and held captive, or prisoner. Except you don't actually know that you've been taken captive or prisoner, because this is probably all you've ever known. Because you were most likely raised by such a narcissist, and thus you've never developed self-love, and so for you, this is how to relate, and it just goes round and round and fucking round and round and round. You have the opportunity to break the cycle, and it's not going to come from changing your partner. I'm bashing my head against the wall here because I've been in that same situation where I've been so enamored with my memory of who this person is or was, and why can't we go back to that? Man, look, the problem isn't really that the narcissist is trying to be abusive or anything like that. This is someone with a fundamentally warped view of themselves and of the world and the people in it. You were the perfect mirror in the beginning because you didn't know each other. You idealized each other. But then you did something human. And then it all went downhill from there. Your job is not to take care of the fear and shame and insecurities of other people. That is not your job. Your job is to take care of your own wants and needs. Perhaps you feel some guilt about abandoning them to their perpetual loneliness and being broken or something. That is not your job or responsibility. That is your trauma-based codependency talking, and you will drive yourself into oblivion, waiting or hoping or trying to get this person to change or heal. Narcissists aren't interested in healing, man. They think they're perfect already. And if you're saying, oh, but they're just broken or sick or confused, that's kind of gaslighty and projecty. Your job is to fix yourself, not them. Abandon all hope that the narcissist will change. But the good news with all of this is that you can change. And you might say, I don't need to change. They're the one that needs to change. That's kind of what they say. If you're stuck in the mindset that they're the one that needs to change, you're the one that needs to change. Codependency causes you to become entrapped in narcissistically abusive relationships and remaining hell-bent on changing or healing or fixing or rescuing your narcissistic partner. And all of that behavior on your part is caused by toxic shame. Toxic shame, or the lack of self-love or self-esteem, is the living, breathing heart of codependency. But the root cause of toxic shame is self-doubt, or lack of self-trust, or fear of who you truly are when in your power. I invented a process that I call spirit tapping that you can use to restore your self-trust, possibly for the first time in your whole life, and thus restore your self-love, and thus cure yourself of codependency. I made a video about spirit tapping, and if you want to watch that video, then click on the link that's going to be appearing in the cards shortly. As always, if you liked this video or you got value from this video, please give it a like. I'm a content creating machine at the moment, so if you fancy, click the bell and keep an eye out for new videos. Hang around this channel long enough and you can't not recover from codependency. That's a promise. If you need personal help, or you've just found out that your partner is something called a narcissist, and you're like, what the actual fuck is going on right now? Book a one-on-one coaching session with me, and I'll help you get yourself together in the most gentle but most efficient ways I know how. The link to one-on-one coaching is at the bottom of the description below. Take care out there, learn to love yourself, and watch my videos on spirit tapping. It has the potential to save your life. Goodbye now. All the best.